Well, good morning, everyone. Ted Schmidt here with Action Coach Northwest, and welcome to another edition of our Business Spotlight podcast. And this morning, our guest is Stephen Malek, owner of Basecamp Books and Bites. So, welcome, Stephen.
Morning. Thank you. Thank you, Ted, for having me here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Looking forward to hearing your insights today about business and being a business owner. And you've got quite an interesting background. So I love to hear all your wisdom, words of wisdom, and insights into how you kind of navigated through all this. So okay, well, let's jump right into the questions. First question: if you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
I always feel like with all of the different businesses that I've ever worked at or even owned base, if one thing that I always seem to underestimate is how much storage you need. I think literally with all the different places I've managed, only one spot did I ever have more storage than I needed.
Wow. Okay.
So I'd say that's one of the fun things and that I keep learning and how to utilize space. And I think one of the other things I would definitely do different is I've picked the wrong location before. So as they say, location, location, location. Um, I made the mistake once and basically went through that location for the 5-year lease and then moved it, and my business went skyrocketing again. So
Wow. Yeah. Well, you're retail. Obviously, in a retail scenario, you got to have visibility. So yeah,
yes,
with people coming in to eat and do all that. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's storage. That is you're the first person that's ever mentioned storage. So that's good. I like that. Space. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to think about this stuff. So okay. Awesome. Okay. Next question. What have your biggest learnings been as an employer since you began in business?
lots of things definitely stand out with this, but some of the most, and it actually goes back a little bit to that I didn't mention. I was going to mention it here, and something I would do differently. Um, if you can, uh, like an ice cream machine, an ice cream machine that I bought the cheap one. Then I'm stuck a year later upgrading to the $2,000-3,000 one. And then I'm upgrading again because it's still just not good enough until I finally end up with one that I should have bought at the beginning.
Mm,
And it was just like, and you're literally talking about the difference from $2,000 to $10,000. And I know that's a lot of capital, but man, all the money that I spent and the time lost of having to make the batch after batch after batch in the $2,000 machine versus doing a week's worth of ice cream in the $10,000 machine, that was definitely worth it in the long run.
the
Um,
investment. Yeah.
so
Okay. Wow.
investing in the right equipment is just one of those things.
Right.
The other thing is being able to constantly pivot, um, change what you're doing. Um, and don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to experiment. You know, I make some of these, I know they sound silly, but like with Basecamp Books and Bites, we're a bookstore. So, what's the biggest thing that you can change immediately? What kind of books you're bringing in? I mean, do I have too much focus on historical nonfiction and not enough focus on hiking since I'm in a hiking place? Uh, or more New York Times bestseller list, etc. And just being able, it only takes a week to fix that because that's how often I get orders.
Yeah.
Menu items. If it's a dud, change it. You're an independent business owner. You're not stuck to a franchise. You can change. If it doesn't work like you thought it was going to work, accept the defeat and make a
I
new
love
item,
that.
whether it
I
be a
love that.
drink or a food.
Yeah, that's good. So as far as being an employer, what advice do you have in that? What's your biggest learning from being an employer?
Hiring. Um, there's two things that I always take away. A, never be afraid to hire someone who's smarter than you. I know a lot of people, some people are scared of that. Me, I'm like, oh, you're smarter than me? Thank goodness. Um, and also at the same time, hiring someone who fits your culture is still more important than their skill set, because if they fit your culture, they'll probably stick around a lot longer. So trying to find someone that's actually fits your culture and smarter than you, once you find that person, just hold on, because it's gonna be great. And
Yeah,
the best thing I always say about this one, especially since we're just doing a bookstore, restaurant, retail, it's like I'm not in the business of hiring brain surgeons. So the skill set is not as important as it is in, say, in a hospital setting. We're not,
right.
we're, lives aren't on the risk for us. So
Yeah,
I can really get someone that's going to blend with the team.
excellent. Yeah, yeah, that's so important. So I totally agree with that. You gotta fit, you gotta hire for fit, because that does, they do tend to stay longer, if they fit into the culture. So that's good. Question number 3: what are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them?
I think the biggest thing that I see from other owners that try and possibly uh, fail or struggle is A, they believe that they can run a business as an absentee owner, as a small business. Um, there's just the profit margins are just so low, especially in Washington State. The Washington Restaurant Association just put out the new numbers for this last year with everything, and they're saying the profit is 4 to 9%, 4% to 9% for a small business. There's not a lot of wiggle room there, so you have to be there. Um, not only are you able to make those adjustments and make those pivots, as I was talking about, um, you're just there and you're offsetting labor, hopefully, too. Um, so it just allows for being able to be there, see things, and make changes, because there's not a lot of room for mistakes. Um,
Mm,
you're going to be successful if you're in there getting your hands dirty.
not a lot of room for mistakes. I like, that's good. That's good. Okay, that's good. All right. What do you attribute your growth to?
Uh, Location. Everyone will always beat this one and beat this one down. I think a lot. You always hear location, location, location. Everything is location. Um, Most definitely that is. I mean, we have 2 locations, and as I said, the first location, 0 issues. My second location, when we opened it you know did great, and then the traffic just wasn't there. Um, and so we ended up having to move it, and it instantly made a huge difference. Um, so that is one of the things that is always important. Um, and then obviously customer service, just trying friendliness, being able, so much of businesses, I'm in a resort town, and but my population for our like 3 local towns is barely even 5,000 people. But
Wow. Okay.
I can look at my numbers because my POS system helps me. I'm still averaging 60 to 70% regulars. Now, the biggest thing is because we're located just outside of Seattle, an hour and a half, and a lot of people have second homes near us. If they're visiting me, how I have it set up, about once every 2 weeks, they're counted as repeat customers. So, but still, that part is good. So being able to have that friendliness, being able to call people by their names, know their drink orders for coffee in the morning or their cocktail in the evening, it just means a lot. Listening,
Yeah.
listening to the customers. I'm always just trying to listen, be the person in the background listening. I'm usually doing my work at a table somewhere, and not everyone's going to know that I own the place. I could just be someone who's teleworking. But I hear the compliments. Oh my gosh, this place is so clean. People noticing. Um, Cleanliness is something that people notice over and over again. And I take it as a compliment when I get to hear something like, whoa, this place is so bright and clean. I like it. Um,
Yeah.
so that's another thing that just is always so important. Um, I had one of my mentors, Don Watts, always used to say, he's like, what is something that you always remember about the restaurant that's not related to food? And I thought about it for a second and I was like, the bathrooms. They can't keep the bathrooms clean. I wonder what the back of the house is like.
Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me was that question. So I always try to make sure the bathrooms are clean because that was the first thing that came to my head.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You go into some restaurants and holy smokes, it's the bathroom is just, yeah. Yeah. That's so true. I mean, the customer experience, I mean, that's what keeps them coming back. So how they feel about being there, I love it. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
um, it's always for me. This was a rough one for us as a couple. For me and my wife. Um, I've always been a workaholic. My wife would even say I define myself through the success of my job. I always wonder, is that a compliment or not? I don't know. Uh, but it it caused some struggles in our marriage when we had our own business together. And but at the end of the day, our marriage was more important. So I did what I thought everyone would do, but not everyone does it. But we sought counseling,
Hmm.
marriage counseling, and with it was also business counseling. So we did it a little bit differently, um, and we worked through it. So that was one of our first hurdles. And then after we got that, we took away two things from it, which was divide and conquer. She was in charge of retail. I was in charge of food and booze. And at the end of the day, if we didn't agree, the person who was in charge of that area automatically wins. And we just set those up ahead of time. And so, and that ever since we did that one, it's was a game changer for us.
Yeah.
And with now that we're having kids and everything, and so we had to make another change things up just a little bit. We plan our vacations. Our vacations are already set. We have 3 vacations a year. One is in at the end of January. We have another one, which is the week after July 4th week, and we have another one in October. They basically revolve around my wife and I's birthday, and then July 4th weekend is usually a slower week, but still in the summer, so we can do something with the kids by not pulling them out of school.
Right.
And so we just keep those vacations, and it's just like we got to keep these going, even if it's just our 3 simple vacations. Um, And one of the other thing is that we've been able to do is if we do need a quick vacation, sometimes it's just I'll take the kids, I'll take both kids and go on a vacation. And then the next vacation, my wife, Audrey, she takes the kids and they go and do something. And one person babysits the restaurant if we both can't get away.
Right.
So it's
Interesting.
just not being afraid. I know some people are like, wait, you went on a vacation with the kids without your wife or vice versa? And I'm like, well, yeah, it's fine. It's just
Interesting.
what we have to do.
That's good
Hopefully we'll
insight.
get past it. But
Yeah.
for now, it's just like, it's really hard sometimes. We're in a resort town, it's seasonal business. If I do 70% of my business in 3 months, we got to make sure we're on our A game for those months.
Well, yeah, that's where your profit is. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. What qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment? You've kind of already touched on this a little bit, but maybe you could elaborate a little more.
Again, as we talked about, it was just hiring personalities that are going to fit within the culture. I feel like I've always had all of these great uh, mentors that I've come across. Um, but it's a lot about the simple things. Had a friend named Margaret who was an executive at one of the parcel companies. And she reminded me one of the best things is the simplest thing. Good morning and the employee's name. How are you doing? And how much of an effect it would have. And it seems to be honest, it does have a huge effect. My employees, when they have I basically have an employee review every single month, but 75% of it is how the employee is feeling at work and how I can help them. There's literally only one box where I talk to them. They fill out literally 75% of the employee evaluation.
Yeah,
And
excellent.
so I always get to know what they're doing. And then one of my dad's best friends who owned a company, Mr. Sundin, told me when I was a kid, probably when I was 10 years old. And I asked him, I was like, you're always acting like a kid, but you own a business. How do you do it? He says, it's not work if you're having fun. And it's something that has resonated um, in my life. And the only reason why I've ever left a job is because I stopped having fun at that job.
Wow.
One, one of the things that was important to me was vacations and being able to take a vacation when I wanted to, obviously keeping in mind the business. So I always try to make sure that I'm able to grant almost any vacation request. I keep myself off the schedule in case they have a last minute concert that they want to go to. So I just step in and take their shift, um, even if it is during the chaotic season. It's like I can always replace a person. So I always leave myself off the schedule just to always have that one. Just constantly recognizing them for their achievements and finding small ways to reward them
Yeah,
constantly.
awesome. Awesome. Love that. Okay, boy, we're sailing through. We only got two questions left here. Here we
Well,
go.
I can add one more thing to that one.
Okay, sure.
One of the things that I really also took away was I got the honor of working with the management team at Canalys for a couple of nights, located in Seattle.
Yeah.
And one of the things when I was talking to the owners is everything was all fine and dandy. Everyone's having fun at work, but there is a line drawn in the sand. And if the employee ever crosses that line, it's basically auto termination. And it was, I don't know why, but that analogy stuck with me. And if they ever cross that line, no matter who they are, you can't make an excuse for them.
Yeah.
It's not worth it because once they cross that line in the sand and all the rest of the employees know that they crossed the line, you don't let them go. You just lost all your morale and all respect from your employees.
Yeah.
So that was something else that took me a while to learn, but I finally learned it. But that analogy of that line in the sand, just for some reason, stuck
Yeah.
with me.
Well, once they breach that trust, it's yeah, yeah. Okay, second to last question. Here we go. What question should I be asking you that I haven't?
Uh, One of the things that I was trying to think about this one and a little bit, and I was thinking about resort towns. So I have only worked in resort towns for the most part. I think I had 1 year where I basically worked in Austin, Texas. That was not food and beverage. And but other than that, we have to work for a living, which are but you might as well have fun. So at the beginning of my career, I was like, I was food and beverage all through college, working at a pizza place, and I just continued it. I went, I traveled and went to all of these beautiful places. Glacier National Park, ran a restaurant. Actually ended up running almost every restaurant in Glacier National Park except for Prince of Wales. I have managed at one point or another. Uh, Steamboat Springs, Colorado, kind of the same thing. I managed all of these, almost every single restaurant, and helped open up 2 of the locations from scratch. All fun. But 2 things happen with it. A, I'm still having fun, but a lot of the time, especially when you're going to all of these different resort towns, you are seasonally opening and closing a restaurant every 4 to 5 months, and you're hiring on a new staff every 4 to 5 months. A lot of these places use J1 visa programs, so you're even having to teach people that English is not even their first language. So you learn all of these great skill sets, and you get to pick what beautiful spot in the world you want to live. Um, so I stuck to resort towns. The other fun thing about resort towns, especially owning a business in them, yes, there's seasonality, but it gives you also some extra time off and a lot more freedom with that regards. But a lot of resorts are still economically resilient. A lot of resort towns have people who live in these towns and visit these towns, but they're second and third homes. They're $2 million+ homes right next door to me, and it's no one's primary residence. It's all of their secondary and thirdary.
Mm.
So I feel like economically, we're able to have a little bit more resilience in bad economical times. I mean,
So more
one way to,
insulated from economic swings and things. So yeah.
because even this year, with as much craziness is going on with all of inflation, food pricing, and everything, I can't explain it, but I'm up this year. Contrary to everything that I would think, I'm up. I'm up 20% in my retail and books. I guess everyone is just reading a book nowadays,
There you
is
go.
their new escape. But it was just strange. I was expecting this year to be really hard, and it hasn't been yet. So
Wow.
hopefully it continues.
Interesting. Wow. I love that. That's interesting. Oh, that's fascinating. Okay. All right. Last question. Here we go. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And any words of advice for other business owners who are looking to grow their business?
Uh, I guess 5 years from now, I'm probably still going to be here. Hopefully, I will finally semi-retire and I'll move into my dream position of head dishwasher because I'll finally have no responsibilities. Uh, but we honestly are tending to make this kind of a legacy business. So hopefully we'll be able to create this business, keep this business. We own the land. We own the building, I should say. And hopefully our children will want to carry on whatever we left off. And if not, we'll figure it out from there. Um, Advice for business owners: find some way to talk to other people in your industry who are successful. We have been able to talk. I got an introduction, as I said, to the owners of Canalys, and they were actually they allowed me to just do a follow along for a couple of ships on a weekend, and it was huge. I learned a ton. When I jumped around as a kid, basically to all those different resorts, I was learning nonstop because of opening and closing, moving to different parts of the country and actually different parts of the world because I took a couple summers I took a summer in Australia and a summer in New Zealand, in between the winter job at Steamboat. So I traveled and tried to but I always tried to find someone smarter than me in this industry, someone who is successful in this industry, and almost ask a lot of these same questions. It's like, what would you have done differently? What was your biggest mistake? What's your biggest piece of advice you would give me? I constantly am trying to do that. Audrey, my wife, is family friends with Mr. Senegal of Costco. She went to school with his kids. And just like talking to him, he was just like, yeah, I didn't know so much at the beginning exactly where we were going or what we were doing. So a lot of days I would just go to like where the clothing aisle is, wander the store, fold clothes, and just listen to the customers as they're chatting amongst themselves, saying, oh, I wish they had this. Oh, but just those kinds of things, and making changes in his business based on literally that feedback. Always made me think of Undercover Boss, but just listening to the customers. Washington State's also really great with our small business association. We have, of course, I just forgot the name and I didn't write it down, but we have the small business advisors that are available through the SBA programs. So if I have a thing, I can set up an appointment with a small business advisor. I looked at purchasing a movie theater once, and was going through all of the stuff because it was something outside of my comfort zone a little bit. They were able to introduce me to multiple other movie theater owners and make connections, and I was able to talk to them. But it was just it's free, and I found them through my local chamber, and it was just a great connection to make. And within your communities, also looking at your chamber of commerces and working with them, you can find a lot of good networking.
Yeah, absolutely. I've learned a lot over the years talking to other people. It's very much so. So, well, great. Awesome. Great insights. Awesome to hear from you today. And I'd like to thank Stephen Malek, owner of Basecamp Books and Bites, for being our guest on our Business Spotlight podcast. And I took a lot of notes. I hope everybody else did too. So that was great. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.